but basically, I used to do this manually. I used to do this in Excel. So I think this is why I love this so much is I know the time, the blood, sweat, and tears that go into putting this report together.
Welcome to ERP on Tap, your steady flow of everything you want to know about NetSuite and Acumatica. The podcast where we dive into practical tips, expert insights, and real-world examples, exploring the tools, tips, and tricks you need to make your business processes flow like never before.
Hey everybody, Jonathan McKee here for ERP on Tap, and this week we're diving into Acumatica's 2025 R2 release, which yes, gives us plenty of opportunities to make Star Wars jokes, and it provides you with an extremely helpful peek and some features that you might want to make use of right away. So for you seasoned ERP on Tap fans, don't worry, Iqra's not gone far. In fact, I'm going to be interviewing Iqra today because she's been hands-on with this release and is excited to show us with, what users like you and I can look forward to. So this is our second video about one of the ERP updates we've seen this year, because in our previous episode, we talked a little bit about NetSuite's update. Now, this is kind of cool because both NetSuite and Acumatica update twice a year. And so everybody's on the most current version. We found out what NetSuite does. Let's find out a little bit more about what Acumatica does, and let's talk about these updates a little bit. So let's dive right in. Let me introduce our guest. And as we do, if you find value in what you hear today, help us help you. Take a second to click that like and subscribe button so you can be the first to get new content like this as it's released. ERP on Tap fans, our guest today isn't a stranger. In fact, she's our co-host. She's a multi-MVP winner in the Acumatica community, and those of you in the Acumatica community knows exactly what that means. She's my friend, my co-host, my co-worker, but most importantly, waist deep implementing and training Acumatica users daily. It's my privilege to introduce Iqra Harrison. Iqra, welcome back. It's nice to have you on ERP on Tap, as if it's like a different thing for you, right?
I know it's a different seat. It's a different seat.
It is a different seat.
I mean, it's a different way to look at it.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same seat, same cute picture.
Yes.
Same Protelo cup right
Same-y.
there. Same pill. Yeah, exactly.
But just different talking points.
No, this is great because I love this because so often, I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, so often we bring someone on and we're talk with them, and I feel pretty privileged that I've got an expert as my co-host, and that's you. I'm bragging on you, all right?
Yeah.
And you
thanks.
know all this stuff. And let's be honest, on this one, as we're talking, I'm like, hey, there's probably nobody better to talk about the R2 update than C3PO herself. So here we are. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about R2 because, but before we dive into specifics, and I know that you told me that you've got some specifics you want to share on these R2 updates that people can actually use. But let's talk about updates real quick, because we not only have Acumatica people, we not only have some NetSuite users as listeners, we also have some people that are kind of checking things out. And those who are ERP on Tap fans saw where we interviewed our president, Tom Victor, and Tom Victor was very specific about how unique Acumatica and NetSuite were, in that when updates happen, things don't break. And that's kind of nice because, let's just say it. There's systems out there. We won't name them, but there's systems out there. I mean, I could name, no, I'm not going to do it, but there's systems out there. And honestly, if there's people who are on those systems, they know, because they're like, yeah, every time an update happens, well, first of all, they don't even have regular updates. But when they finally come and say, sorry, you've got to upgrade to the new version. And usually that means money. And it also means time because stuff breaks. You've been an Acumatica user for a long time now. You're now a consultant. You help people up on this stuff. Tell us, how is Acumatica different than those systems where it's just almost known when an update's happened, there's going to be a bunch of stuff you got to do?
Yeah, no, I mean, you're right. I mean, just think through like all of the flight delays and stuff like that. And every time there's some update on the back end, every single flight got delayed. I think every time I fly out to Folsom or on the way back, there's some sort of delays or some system has gone down because we've upgraded. With my experience with Acumatica, I've seen both versions. There's right now, a lot of my clients are on the always always current. So they're upgraded on the back end. Acumatica has been pushing through patches. Out of the clients that I've worked with, we haven't experienced any of the issues. I haven't seen anything. And then there's also the always flex, or I think flex. I don't think it's called always flex, but where you
It's
can
like me,
upgrade.
I always flex.
Yes.
So, yeah, okay.
No, but like that one upgrades like, every, 1.5 years or something along those lines. And that's for more of your enterprise level, but you get a sandbox, you get to test everything out. It's separate from your production environment. So you're not, you're testing out everything that you've done or you would be doing in production. So, most my upgrades have been, pretty good. I try to get everybody to make sure that like you're testing your custom reports, your generic inquiries, and customizations are big. Things change, and so as
Mhm.
long as we can kind of test it, tries to prevent any kind of major issues in their production environment. And
No, I
been a
appreciate your I appreciate your honesty there, because honest, it's like you could just say nothing breaks ever, and
hmm
what you're saying is, hey, Acumatica provides the sandbox and a time period for you to look at, hey, where's the areas of difficulties going to be customizations, and you're naming some of these, and you're
hmm
saying that you tell your customers, let's look at those things and make sure in the sandbox that they're going to work, and you're saying most of the time that stuff doesn't even need any tweaks.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, sometimes tables change on the back end and you can do it. It's a quick change on the back end for me, or if the, client is, technically savvy and stuff, they can typically handle a lot of those on their own. So yeah, I've had really good experiences with the clients that I've worked with. And if it breaks, we just kind of make a mental note, or even if they keep a log, test that again next time you go through the upgrade, and so you don't have to deal with anything. And so I love a good checklist. I love a good list of things to knock off. And
And
so
when you say if it breaks, because I mean, think about, I mean, we're being very honest here. There's times where
mhm.
it happens. It's at least breaking in the sandbox when you're offline. So it's not affecting the
Yeah,
production. It's while they're
exactly.
testing it. Hey, here's something that actually didn't make it, so and it takes a tweak, it's fixed, and then it's ready
And
for
then you're ready
production.
to roll it out in production, right? Like when you're upgrading, you already know what to fix. So you just kind of, before you go live, you just fix whatever issues you have.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's good. And I tell you something, I mean, Tom, our president, said it on that interview when we interviewed him. And one of the reasons we choose to consult on Acumatica and
hmm
NetSuite is because we like happy customers. And
Yeah,
when stuff is breaking all the time, you don't have happy
you're not
customers.
happy.
So I mean, by definition, I mean, I don't think we would have chose Acumatica if when you had to
hmm
go into that sandbox, oh my gosh, plan a few days to fix all this stuff. It's going to be rough. It's not like that. Sometimes it's just a couple tweaks, if anything, and that's pretty great. There's kind of in a way two things that happen on these releases. And in this R2 release, um,
hmm
you've got the updates like that. Hey, there's stuff that's upgraded,
hmm
here's going to be the new version of the same thing, same functionality, to make sure it's working on the most
hmm
recent version. But then there's also new cool stuff, right, that happens on an update. That's what we're going to spend some time talking about today, some of the new cool stuff. That's pretty cool that when you're paying for software, they aren't even saying, oh, by the way, this is more, but there's some new
This is new
features.
stuff that's
Yeah, yeah,
available.
yeah. And honestly, we asked the question with NetSuite, and we had CJ on for the second time, and he was so
hmm
helpful as he talked about, hey, here's some of the new cool stuff that happened in NetSuite. You were intrigued as an Acumatica user. Oh, wait, NetSuite's now doing this. That's pretty cool. What is Acumatica releasing that's new and cool? And tell us some of these things.
Yeah, so I went through the release notes. I sat on the webinar that they had. I wasn't able to sit
Mhm.
on all of them, so I had to do a little bit of reading on my end. Who doesn't love
Yeah.
reading release notes?
I
Uh,
sat on two of them. I sat on two of them,
you
construction and the
did?
main one. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I got to sit on the main one, so I saw a lot of things, but I just tend to read the release notes or release things that I know, like what
Mhm.
my clients are working on,
Yep.
and just being also be part of a little bit on the sales side, kind of see what our prospects are looking for too. So one of the newer enhancements I would say is they added the ability to support multiple EINs with the payroll module. So let's say
Mm.
you had more than one company in the
Mhm.
same tenant that process payroll separately. you can now manage that all in Acumatica. And I thought that was really cool just because I can think of some of my old experiences or some
Mhm.
other jobs, other clients that I've worked with where it's like, okay, each of these companies have their own payroll processor or whatever they had to do. They just had to process it separately. But instead of having three different payroll accounts, or an integration, now Acumatica is giving you the ability to do it all in one and have all your information in one place, all your employee management, and then you can separate it out based off what you need for your company requirements versus, things that are global or just company specific. So I thought that was really
Okay,
cool.
you could see my gears turning
I
because
know.
I'm
Thinking of
not
all of
making this
those.
up. The reason I was 5 minutes late for the record, only Iqra knows this. I was 5 minutes late for the record of this podcast because I was talking with someone who was asking me all these questions. Does Acumatica do this? Does it do this? And they asked me that question about multiple EINs, and I was like, I
Yep.
don't know. I need to ask my consultant.
Well,
So
then you
thank
can just
you
enter
for
the
answering
podcast.
that question. And the
Yeah.
and the answer is with the 225, the 2025 R2 release, yes, you
Hmm.
can. Okay, good. That's
No, I
awesome.
really liked it. And just I've implemented the payroll module. I've done payroll. So it's just like
Okay.
I can see the need and how this is going to help so many different businesses, some of our existing customers as well as new ones, and just people who use Acumatica in general.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. See, and I love it when it gets better, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
already good, but when all of a sudden it's like, hey, you know what? Here's something we've heard, and this is something that we've talked about before. Acumenica's really good at listening to
Hmm.
the community. And Acumenica's got this community, and there's a lot of systems out there where the communities aren't very strong. Acumenica's community is strong. And people are
Yeah.
like, hey, how come we don't have this? And when we have the meetings, it's so funny because Acumenica users know this. As we sat there and watched these webinars, when they announce some of these new things, people start hitting the likes and the smiley faces and the
And the
hearts, and they
parties.
start flying across the
Yeah.
screen. And when they announce some of these new things, you see everybody going,
You see
yeah,
the interaction. Yeah,
you
like
do.
everybody is like happy to be involved. And that's what I just think the Acumatica ecosystem in general, across the board is just like a happy-go-lucky bunch of people.
It is, and it's nice when they give you new
It's
stuff. You
refreshing.
know, they're like, hey, guess what? You're already paying for this. This is an extra, but now you can do this. So on that note, what else you got?
Okay, so this one's a little bit, it may not be as exciting for other people, but I can definitely think of a reason why this would be really beneficial. But
Okay, I can't wait.
so Acumatica has the ability to do intercompany transactions, right? And so
Yeah,
thinking
yep.
like, one company does a sales order, the other company is the one who's fulfilling it and or doing a purchase order, all that good stuff. Previously, they could only do it with like normal transactions. So company
Okay.
A does a purchase order, company B does a sales order, and you're doing like the fulfillment steps, in each, and the proper, transactions will transfer over. But now they added the ability to do drop shipments with intercompany transactions.
Oh,
So like
okay.
let's say you did so I work for a construction company that purchased materials from their sister company, right? So like there was a subcontractor and they had another company all in the same tenant. And so basically, the company could do a drop ship to their external customer, and then that PO gets created in the sister company. And all in the back end, you just run these processes that generate, intercompany sales orders or generate intercompany purchase receipts and stuff like that. All of that gets taken care of. And you eliminate the need of like having to bring that into inventory and then having to fulfill it out yourself because like it wasn't an option before. And now it all kind of gets fulfilled. You're saving steps. You're eliminating like the need for some like administrative oversight and stuff like that. And just it makes it simpler. I was like, you have the functionality, just expand it. So that one was like a little dorky. I definitely did kind of like nerd out on some of the
Hey,
release
hey,
notes, but I can see my wheels are spinning. I can see where like even some of my old clients, some of the ones that we work with now, I'm like this is cool. Like this is something that's going to be useful and save time, and time equals money. Who doesn't want to
yeah,
save
I
those?
mean, intercompany accounting in already is pretty cool because I mean, every time somebody is growing out of QuickBooks and they're ready and they're like, okay, enough of this. It was great for a while, but it's time to move on to something more substantial. The thing that they hate in QuickBooks is having to log out and log into another, you have to
Mm-hmm.
have all these different QuickBooks, and to be able to do it all in Acumatica. And now
Yeah.
Acumatica is saying, oh, by the way, and now you can do
Just made
more
it
with
more
that.
efficient.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's great.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Good one. I like it.
I thought that was good too. I know it's
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
niche, but that's okay.
yeah, yeah.
These next
What?
two kind of go hand in hand,
Nice.
both time card related, but
Okay.
one's I'll start with the easier one and then I'll kind of end with my top two favorites. But one of the things, again, being a consultant side, I see a lot of different businesses. I work with a lot of different people. Um, and sometimes people use time cards and payroll, and sometimes people
Hmm.
just use time cards or they don't even use it, right? But my biggest feedback that I had gotten with time cards is you didn't have the flexibility to change like the period you were working on. So
Hmm.
like whatever week you were logged in on, that was all you could enter time for. So like imagine somebody who was on extended leave or was going to
Hmm.
be out of town for a little bit. Like unless you went in, like either the user was going to go and create blank time cards for all of those weeks leading up to whatever period they needed, or somebody in HR was going to generate those time cards. You didn't have any other options. Now they added that flexibility to be able to modify that date, and I was just like, this is going to help. One, two, three, four, five. I was like, this is a really good enhancement. It's not necessarily going to like, well, I guess it could save time, but like it's just easier to use. It gives it more flexibility. And it's just like one of those things that like you don't know that you need something like that until you have it, or you don't know that you're missing
No,
something
totally.
until it's
Yeah.
not available. So I just thought that was really cool that it started to be able to give you the flexibility with the dates.
Okay. Good. Good. And you said there was two that were similar or
Yes, so the
kind of
other
related.
one, which is really super exciting, and who isn't excited about this, but the clock in, clock out feature. I think
Yeah,
you probably saw it during the construction
I did.
session. So, like, you might even actually
And
know
and
more than
and and
me.
people were celebrating. Woo!
Yes, I would.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like, there's what I found is like people who end up needing to go with like the third party integrations and stuff like that. Typically, like
Hmm.
it's more than what they need. And so that's always
Yeah.
like the biggest feedback is like, oh yeah, this would be great, but I don't need the 10 other things that this ISV provides.
That I'm
I
paying for.
Yeah, exactly. And so
Yeah.
they're missing
Exactly.
out on that. And so I thought this was a huge win. I thought this was going to be great. And like just thinking through all the companies who I've worked with, clock in, clock out has been huge. We have so many different prospects that we've talked to that, we're like, oh, you don't have the clock in, clock out? Like, that's pretty basic. And so now they added it. You said something, Acumatica listened, and now it's
Yep.
here.
They listened. Exactly.
So I was really, really excited about that. But
That's cool.
you probably saw a little bit more on it because again, I just went through the release notes, so I didn't get to enjoy the full demo. But
Yeah.
it looked like
He was
just
showing it. Yeah.
yeah, it looked pretty cool. Just they had some screenshots in my PDF version, but it was really simple. You could start it, you could put breaks, you could put, work time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Some of the stuff that, like you said, used to kind of take a third party app because you could do basic stuff, but they're sitting there and saying, okay, we need to add this. So that's great.
yeah, and it's just like having it all in one system, taking it
Hmm.
from your clock in entries, taking it to your time activities, which can then roll into your time cards, which then can roll into payroll.
Hmm.
Having that all in one place, it just makes things easier. One
Yep.
source of truth, having it all here, you got to investigate something, you know where to go. It's not like you have
Yep.
to go to three different spreadsheets. So I was
I
excited
totally
about that.
agree. Oh, good one. Good one. And you know what? I think you've got more.
I think I have one more for you.
Okay.
So this one's
Okay.
probably my
I'm so
favorite one.
greedy. I'm like,
I know. Well,
you've got more.
there's so much more. I mean, I didn't even get the chance to like delve into the manufacturing side of things.
Yeah.
The intercompany dropship was, distribution a little bit, but construction's really kind of like
Mm-hmm.
what I love to do. So definitely spent a lot of time there. But this is my favorite one out of like
Okay.
the whole entire whatever they released this version. But it's the Project Whip adjustments. And so, are you familiar with what whip adjustments are?
You know what? Only from what you and Diane
What
have
I
explained to me. So please do
Yeah.
explain.
So like just from the way I understand it is like, with constructions, it's you can only recognize what you've like completed, like your sales and your, all of you're over under billings and things like that. So Acumatica has a WIP report that makes it really easy. So that allows you to, populate your over under billing amount to go based off how much you've consumed on your budget, right? So it's kind of like more numbers based. They also have the cost projection that was added a couple releases ago, which you can run those reports off of that, which is chef's kiss. I love that one too. But but basically, I used to do this manually. I used to do this in Excel. So I think this is why I love this so much is I know the time, the blood, sweat, and tears that go
Mhm.
into putting this report together. And so like I was managing like 100 projects. Like I had to go through 120 different projects a month and communicating with project managers to get accurate amounts left to complete. Hey, are you guys on track? All of this stuff had to come into play, which again, cost projections can help and you can leverage
Mhm.
other areas of the system. But basically, I would do all of this and then I'd come down and I'd have to this big number at the end of like, hey, I've overbilled or I've underbilled, and then I'd have to do a journal. But the way I did it was all just, it wasn't project specific, and sometimes that's not important to some people. But imagine if you had like 10 to 15 projects, but these are like multi-million dollar projects, so it's hefty amounts. And so you
Yeah.
may want to adjust that at the project level, right? But
Yep.
Acumatica just used to give you the report before, and it just told you the number. You could do it by project, but again, time equals money. So like doing the journal entry for that, there's human error having to enter it if you did it manually, all that stuff. So fast forward to all that, they made a process where you can actually do your WIP adjustments after you are ready to do all that. So your over under billings can get, booked properly. And then on top of
Hmm.
that, it does a reversing entry because it's one of those auto reversing journal entries that will then reverse at the first of the following month. So
Nice.
then now you really don't have to do anything and just make sure that your numbers are correct and the system handles the rest of it for you.
That's cool. That's cool. So anybody that's going to be using any of those those WIP report stuff, that anybody that's actually a lot of people in construction industry, anybody that's really project does a lot of
Oriented, yeah.
projects. Yeah, this is gonna affect them big time. This could save them some time.
No, absolutely. And like I said, if anybody's doing it manually or people aren't using your cost projections, give us a call. Like we can
Yeah,
help you. Like honestly,
yeah,
there's so many things that are available in the system that I feel like people just don't use as much. And
yeah.
as these releases come out, I'm texting my clients. I'm like, "Hey, did you hear that this is coming out?" Or "Hey,"
See,
and
that's cool. That's
yeah,
cool.
I
Well, and that's honestly one of the reasons we do this podcast is like I think of the podcast that Kurt did about NetSuite is here. Hey, where do you start? Or when Travis did that podcast on, hey, what are some of the most underused
underrated.
or
Yeah.
yeah that you didn't even realize it had. That's what we want to do. We want to bring these things to people's attention and say, hey, guess what? Here's something that doesn't even cost you extra money that could save you time that you can make use of. And let me just interject again. I mean, for those of you guys that are out there, which of these are the most helpful to you? Which of these are the ones that you're actually going to use? Even if you're not an Acumatica user and you're shopping, which of these will you use? Jump into the comments and just tell us, man, that last one, the whip one, or I love name it. Just tell us which one. We'd love to hear it from you. We like to hear, and I'm hoping this is a help. Iqra, great list. I love it. And there's
Yeah, I
more.
thought it was
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thought
Yeah.
it was
No,
really
no,
good.
no,
Hair flip.
super, super helpful. It's kind of a behind the scenes peek. I mean, absolutely.
Hmm.
They can go to the R2 release notes. You can see screenshots. You can do that. As a matter of fact, we'll go ahead and throw a link right below in
Hmm.
there to the actual note so that you can see that, make it nice and simple for you. That's our goal, is to make it simple. But Iqra, I appreciate you taking the time to kind of tell us your favorites, because that means a lot to me, because I know how much you know the system. And so to hear from you, your insight,
Yeah.
thank you for that.
Thank you. No, of course. Thank you for having me in this seat today.
I know it's cool. It's kind of cool having you in the seat. So users, what about you? Jump in the comments. If you're an Acumatica customer already, which of these are you going to use right away? If you're not, which of these do you like the most or the least? You're like, man, I never use that. Or here's one. what should have they updated that they didn't update? Let us know, because you know what?
Exactly.
Acumatica's listening. You might remember, I mean, we had Acumatica VP on this podcast. They
Hmm.
are paying attention. They want to hear from you. So please tell us, what do you think would be great? And if you found this helpful, yeah, take a second and hit that like and subscribe button here, so we can continue to bring these resources, these insights, for all things NetSuite and Acumatica. I'm Jonathan McKee,
And I'm Iqra Harrison.
and this has been another episode of ERP on Tap.